Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Gamerman here, and welcome to a weird little tech demo thing that I found. I don't know if it's a tech demo thing or not, but I know I've messed with it a couple of times in my life. This is Steam Engine Simulator. Now, whether or not you guys know it, I am a big fan of Steam. I love Steam. I've been a huge fan of Steam, and this game does a really good job of simulating how basically steam pressure works. And I thought we'd tinker with it and see what we can do with it. So I know for a fact that the water pressure, the water pump ceases operation at 250 psi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this to just slightly above 250 psi. Now, in reality, on a steam engine, you'd want to set the psi pop-off point to below your boiler pressure point. Now, basically, boilers are tested to many times their capacity, so that they do not risk rupturing while the engine is in operation. The steam engine itself is this piston and wheel setup you see over here on the right. This is actually the steam engine. The boiler over here on the left is more or less it's more or less the component that makes the steam engine work. So when you see like a steam locomotive, technically the engine itself is the pistons and the wheel makeup. So we have the boiler pressure set to 240.72 psi. You would want this in reality to be a heck of a lot lower. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna gradually bring this down, and we're gonna increment it. So that is right there, 250 on the dot. That's where we want the pop off to be. So we're gonna now start adding water into the boiler. We're gonna rapidly add water into the boiler. Now the boiler is technically right now cold. There is some pressure being built up purely from just the vacuum of water being added in. So here's what we're gonna do. You can see that there's pressure already starting to build, and that is purely because this is a stationary boiler. This is not a locomotive boiler. These are a little different, but that's okay. So what we wanna do is we wanna increase the heat just a bit. We don't wanna increase it too much. About, I wanna say a good 50% would be where we wanna be in terms of starting heat production. 50.5 will do. You'll see now that we're starting to make steam pressure, all right? And you'll see that the water temp is going up. The markers are set to every 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're dealing with, well, degrees centigrade in this case. So you're dealing with, this is the metric system. I'd rather it be in Fahrenheit. Can I fix that? Okay, so I can't switch this to Fahrenheit, so I'm gonna have to worry about it being in centigrade. But you can see that the water temperature is rising rapidly, which is causing our boiler pressure to start to rise a bit more. So in order to counterbalance boiler pressure rising beyond the point that we want it to, we will now open this water valve up, and you'll see that the pressure starts to grow because we're adding water in, but it's not really changing much. So the temperature is starting to slow down. We've lowered the heat a little bit. We're right at about, okay, we're at like 115 pounds per square inch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna signal that we're gonna start moving this system here. So we're gonna put this into forward, like so, like this, and then we're gonna signal. Then we want to open up the throttle a little bit like this, and then we want to get the engine moving. Now, hopefully, if we've done this right, it isn't going to take off like a racehorse. So now we've got the engine itself is starting to move, and you can see that our RPM is changing here. Now, if this was a locomotive, this would be turning wheels, which would be turning the engine, which would be moving the train along. And you can see our boiler pressure is starting to come up because we're creating a draft. So if we increase the steam output a little bit here, you'll see that our RPM is starting to increase. If I move this reverser up, you can see that we're now generating more speed, but at the cost of our steam. You see our steam isn't going up as fast. The higher I push this, the more steam we're using. And you can see our water level is starting to drop here. Our steam temperature is going up, the wheel is spinning faster, but you can see our boiler is about to burst. So we're gonna cut the heat a little. And right now we're kind of at a steady pace. It's not super quick. Let me turn down my volume here just a little bit. Oh, that's turning down myself. There isn't really a game volume button, is there? There should be a game volume button. Hold on. Settings. Where's audio quality? Oh, there's really no audio. Weird. That's a bit strange. That's a bit strange indeed. Weird. Okay. Particle packs. Maximum. Make a maximum. Why not? Okay. So our RPM is starting to slow down because our boiler pressure is lowering. So we'll increase the heat again. And you'll see our boiler pressure starts to go up. And our water level is staying pretty darn level. It's not getting too hot, but you can see we're about to pop the safeties, so we need to start adding a lot more water in to bring that down. We don't want it to drop off like a rocket, but we do want it to be just enough right there. That's pretty much a good balance. So if we increase our speed, you'll see our steam pressure starts to drop a little. So we'll increase the heat. Right now we're just seeing, you're seeing how the steam engine functions itself. Now I could increase the throttle instead of increasing the power. So if I bring this back down and increase the throttle to maximum, we get roughly the same result. You see we're getting a little bit of backblast here. There is a lot of boiler pressure happening there. Drop that down. Nope, come on, come on, come on. Oh, we're gonna pop. We're gonna pop the safeties if I'm not careful. Let's bring that speed up a bit. Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go. We're bringing her back, we're bringing her back. Now I could offset the fire like this. Now this is technically, I'm gonna classify this as an oil burning fire, but I'm more accustomed to coal burning than I am to oil burning. So this, I don't know how accurate this would be. I don't know. Now what happens if we do pop the safety? Well, if I close the throttle, the engine's gonna start to slow down, so we're gonna open that back up just a little more. We're just gonna wang the heat up. What happens when the safety pops? See, right there, the safety's going off. That keeps the boiler from exploding. We're gonna open that up to max. Bring this up to about 50%, right about there. There goes the safety, so we'll just increase our power. You can see our power is massively deteriorating. Okay, can we bring this back and save it? try to bring this up naturally instead of just hammering it. Where's the positive flow here? Right about there. That seems to be the maximum power we can give this without breaking it. Because if we go up any... Oh, no. We're doing this slow enough. Oh, shoot. The boiler's flooded. Boiler's flooded. Okay. So if the boiler floods like this, you technically do something called priming a boiler, which is really, really bad. You don't want to do that. So we're going to drop some of this water out by blowing out some of the boiler like that. We're going to re-raise the temperature back up. We're going to hit the automatic engine and get this thing underway again. It's gonna kick up like a racehorse because we never dropped the reverser. That's a major issue. If you hemorrhage an engine like this, it's very bad. So let's get the speed up to maximum. Can we increase this any more? No. Seems like right about here is max. Now if I close this and force the boiler past the point where we wanted it, which was 150, you can see we're getting tremendously large amounts of power out of this. And if I keep increasing, you can see that we're getting a lot more power out of it. Downside is we can no longer apply water into here, which is a major factor and a major issue. Okay, so now we have this problem of we have too much boiler pressure and we can't feed the boiler. That is exceptionally dangerous, especially if this was to run out of water. You would have a major issue of legitimately just bursting this boiler. You'd cause everything to explode and it'd be really bad. So how do we fix this? Well, it's simple. We blow out the boiler. Now, blowing out the boiler, technically you would want to do that from the bottom of the boiler, not the top of the boiler. Because, and I will demonstrate this by, hang on, let me just put this thing full of water real quick, at least about halfway or so. Let's just, there we go, full heat. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to see that the boiler pressure is going to drop a little bit because, you know, water temp and everything like that and vacuums and what have you. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to put this boiler up to its maximum boiler pressure, so about a little past 350. And then we're going to blow down the boiler. So we're going to open up this valve here, which is technically the drain valve, and we will clear out all of the gunk and grime and grit out of the engine itself. So let's get that thing up to temperature. All right, we'll bring in the temp. Wait, a little more for the demonstration. All right. So we've got the heat on barely. We're gonna dump the boiler, and then now all of the gunk and soot is coming out the bottom here and clearing out of the boiler. All right, there we go. So we've cleaned out all the gunk. Now, in this particular simulator of this, I found a couple of interesting things. Number one, I love that you can lock this wheel into place. You can just straight lock it into place, and it won't be able to move. This can add tension to this wheel. So what that means is, let's bring this down back to, let's say, let's put this up near there. Bring it down to 240 PSI. 245, my bad. All right, let's get the heat on. There's going to be a slight vacuum change because of the dry water. We didn't keep the heat on while we were bringing the water in. That's a no-no. Okay. So let's say we add about 30 pounds of force. Well, where are we closest to? Yeah, let's do 30 pounds of force. Here, steady, steady, steady. All right, 30.1, good enough. All right, so we're adding 30 pounds of force to this boiler, to this wheel. So now, when we start it up, we're gonna need a little bit more force. So let's get it to there. Let's open up the throttle. Ah, see? Now we can't move it at that pace. So we need to increase this to get the throttle to move. Let's go, come on. Ah, you see? We can no longer move the wheel at this pace. It's not working. So what do? Well, since we can't turn this, we have to decrease the amount of friction that we are dealing with. Like so. Now when we open the wheel up, oh, still not enough. Let's disable that real quick and just get the wheel moving. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay, we've got it moving. Now we will apply this braking force. Nope, 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 nope. See, now we're having to overcome this drag, which is putting friction on the wheel, which means we have to work it harder. You can see that the chuff here, or the RPM, is changing dramatically because this timing rod is pushing against, is letting steam into the piston, causing this to work harder, which means we require more force to get moving. The reason I'm doing this video is because, oh shoot. The reason I'm doing this video is because I've been playing a lot of Railroader, and a lot of people don't know the inner workings of a steam engine. Some people do. I'm not saying nobody knows the inner workings of a steam engine that watches my videos, but there are a few people that I'm wondering if they know how a steam engine works, and this is a quick little demonstration of how that works. But we can get stupid with it. So we can get stupid with it. See this little A in the corner here? Well, this is the initial, I believe, of the person who created the game. And if you rapidly click on it a couple of times, you'll piss it off for some bizarre reason. I don't know why that's a feature in this, but it is. So now when we turn on the heat, we're actually gonna close the pop-off valve for this one, because this is where things get really stupid. You'll see that the markers are now times 10. Which means that is 7,000 RPM that we can potentially hit, which is stupid. You can also see that the boiler pressure is going well beyond 1,000 PSI. That is super pressure steam, and that is high pressure steam, which is volatile and exceptionally dangerous. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try and get this wheel moving. We're gonna add a little bit of forward, and we're gonna open up the throttle. Open it up a little more, give it a little more beans. Now, this is where stuff gets wacky. Look at the RPMs we are getting off of this. Like, not even the regular water is enough to fix this issue. Like, we cannot produce enough steam to reach this speed. There we go. Now we're producing quite a large quantity of steam. You really hear this thing picking up. Now, if we can get above 2,500 RPM? I will Google to figure out how much RPM that is. There we go. We're above 225,000 RPM. That is max power. You can see our water is dropping rapidly. Okay. Stop. All right, while that is spinning, I'm going to convert 2649.95 RPM to miles per hour. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it into a calculator here. All right. Let's see. I'm going to say that the wheel diameter is 75. We're going to say... Okay, we're going to say 7 feet drivetrain. Okay. So... I'd say more like it's 2 foot. And then the tire diameter in feet is a 7-foot tire. We were essentially traveling at a whopping 331 miles per hour with this max speed. That is alarmingly fast and nearly impossible for something to ever actually do. Stop. Now you'll notice that this isn't draining. And I wonder why it's not draining. I've probably broke the game a little bit. Is it draining now? No, it physically cannot drain. Why? There is now a vacuum in this boiler, which is a problem. So how do we release it? Obviously, we open up the lift. Doesn't do anything. So we have to pull on the whistle. And it is now sucking air into the boiler. There we go. There's still 0.1% vacuum, so we'll increase this slightly to cause the vacuum to drop. We're gonna keep the heat up. Now, I doubt this game is going to actually simulate a boiler popping. I really doubt it. But we're gonna try here real quick. Yeah, water level is really, really low. We're nearly 0.0. When we get there, that's when things get dangerous. Two, 1, 0 water. Now that there is legitimately no water in this boiler, according to this readout, that means that we are producing heat pressure, not steam pressure. Very different thing. I bet you we can't even run this this wheel off of this kind of pressure, but we're gonna try. Oh my god, we can. Okay, it's for some reason it's simulating that there is still steam in this boiler, which I don't comprehend and makes very little sense. But we were able to do that. And there's the vacuum. So now we are sucking air through this system. That is insane. Now, is that accurate? I have no idea. But what I do know is you never want negative pressure in a boiler unless you're bringing a boiler down from steam. In that case, you do want it to be at 0 psi so you can actually work on it. You also don't want it to be hot as all hell, because if it was hot as all get out, then we would have a problem. Now let me guess, this thing can only fill up to 88 point. Yep. Okay, so that's max boiler, which is an issue. So we'll just release the steam with a quick little toot. And yeah, that's pretty much how a steam locomotive works. Actually, more like a steam engine. This is a stationary engine. This is not exactly how a steam locomotive works, but it's how steam works. Thank you guys for at least watching this little video. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notification button, become part of the gamer team. Check out Dumby Energy right up here in the corner. I just don't feel like doing major edit right now, so that's why it's just up here in the corner. And with that being said, as we get ready to wrap this up here, I just want to say thank you guys for helping me and supporting me on this endeavor. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!